Hi, today we're going to continue our study on teacher professional development. And we'd like to welcome all of you, all of our principals on the come up, and all of our other members who are counselors, our professionals in the business, as we prepare to look at teacher professional development. The title of our professional development issue today is Reasons Teachers Resist Professional Learning. And the reasons teachers resist professional learning are several. We're going to be looking at that. But first of all, I want to know how many of you are responsible for teacher professional development? And have you ever had professional development and you just don't see it implemented? And what would happen if you would actually go and check to see if the professional development is actually implemented? So we're going to be looking at three things today. We're going to be looking at why teachers have no action using professional development. Number two, why are they aware of the professional development, but they choose not to use it? And the third is they're accustomed to their own routine. So they may start out using it, but then they go right back to the same old way. Hi, my name is Dr. Barbara Polk. I am a consultant, an educational consultant, and I go into schools and I see what happens with professional development. And I'm going to give you some reasons to help you with your professional development. And I'm going to give you a reason as to why all the money and the time that we spend on professional development, why it's not working. And I'm going to tell you how it can work. As I go into schools, I see this. So here's a little bit about, my background. I am an educational consultant, as I said, and I was chosen by the Texas Education Agency to go into schools that were in need of improvement and those schools that were low performing to get those schools to turn around. And I was also accepted into the Harvard Graduate School of Education, their urban school institute, to help those students and teachers and principals who were in schools that were low performing to figure out ways to get those schools to turn around and for them never, ever to go back to that low performing status. So if you are responsible for professional development in your building, then this is for you. And if you know that you are spending money on professional development and it's not working, this is for you. And if you have problems following up on your professional development, and this is for you. And if you cannot find a way to get that professional development to actually work on your campus, or you have evidence that it's working on your campus, then this is for you. What I want you to do, first of all, you have lots and lots of colleagues who need to hear this information, and because they're just going in circles. They're just going in circles, and they need to hear this. So what I want you to do right now, I want you to hit that like button. I want you to hit that share button, and I want you to let your colleagues know that this information is for them and this is valuable information. Also, too, if you do have colleagues and friends, if you're on the Facebook page, Principals on the Come Up, just go up to the top of the page, and there's a plus and an invite button. Just hit that button, and you can invite them to come on over to Principals on the Come Up. And you can also go to barbararaypolk.com, and you can schedule a discovery call, because there are so many out there who are doing just a great job. But when it comes to professional development, you're just kind of going through the motions. So let's talk about why we have so much problems with professional development. Well, first of all, we're doing some research with Jim Knight, who is a researcher, who is saying that there are several reasons why we have problems with professional development. And usually our professional development is something that we rely as principals. The principals rely on their instructional coach. with the professional development. But let's just identify principles about what we do with our instructional coaches. We know that 50% of the time our instructional coaches are not in classrooms. Our instructional coaches are like quasi administrators. They're supposed to be there to help the teacher. They're supposed to be there to help the students. But research says that our instructional coaches, usually spend less than 25% of their time in the classroom helping the students. So if you know that you are guilty of that, and I was guilty of that, and so many other good principals are guilty of that, let's just redirect. Let's just redirect what we have our instructional coaches to do. They are there specifically to make sure that if we have any new initiative, if we have any type of campus improvement plan, and we all know, let's just be real, we don't take that campus improvement plan out until it's time to do a report. If it's time for us to start looking at data, we're not looking at that all the time, and that's the purpose of having an instructional coach. We have our instructional coach there with our campus improvement plan, and when we have our PLCs, and the campus improvement plan and the PLCs, for some reason, those two never get together. So when we start talking about professional development, and we know we have that professional development either at the beginning of the second semester, or we plan it during the summer, or we have that as a part of our calendar for activities when teachers return to school. So what are you doing? What is your purpose for having a teacher professional development? Is it something that the district decided that they wanted to do, and you had no choice? You just had to follow along? And the key there with just following along, you as the principal, you know that ultimately it is your responsibility to make sure that any initiative that the district decides that they want to develop, you have to do it. But as the principal, you have a way for you to be able to get that done and have it in a way that your teachers can have some kind of buy-in. If you don't do that, then you're going to hit a brick wall. So when you have your professional development, what are you having professional development for? Is it something, or do you want your scores to improve in reading? Or do you just want your children to be able to write proficiently? Do you want your math scores to increase in 6th grade? So when you have your professional development, those are the things that guide whatever your professional development is. Now, here's another reason why the professional development doesn't work. Your teachers go to the professional development. They are aware of the professional development, but they just choose not to use it. So if you are using your instructional coach, if you have your instructional coach helping, with grants or helping with leadership teams, or helping on some kind of special project, they're not in the classroom. So that teacher who has gone through that professional learning or that professional development, they just choose not to use it, and there's nobody checking them for the accountability. And the other thing is that teachers, they may start out with the new innovation. They may start out using the professional development, but then they drop back because they try to remember some of the steps that they learned during the professional development, but they kind of forgot some of the steps. They tried it a little bit, it didn't work out. So what they do, they go back to those things that they are accustomed to using, those things that they know work. And for those things that don't work, well, they just keep doing what they've been doing. So those are 3 of the things that are reasons why the professional development is not working. So now I'm about to give you some nuggets so that you can have your professional development to work. The first thing is with your professional development is not something that you just push down and shove down the throats of your teachers. Now let's just stop for a minute. Our teachers deserve respect. Okay, our teachers deserve respect. If you as a team, you as a campus know that there are areas that need improvement, then it's up to you as the principal or as the leadership team to ask them, to go to them and see what they see as the need on that campus. If you expect them to participate, you have to give them an opportunity. Now, are all of your teachers going to give you some good feedback? Of course not. There are going to be some teachers who will push back on anything that you do. And the reason they push back is because they are waiting for some evidence to see that this professional development is working. And unless they see evidence that the professional development is working, then they're going to give you the pushback. So that means that you may not get them all to decide that this is what we need together, but we move it in sections. And once the team starts to see that things are changing, or there's some evidence that this professional development is working, you're going to have the pushback. You have to respect your teachers. You have to respect your teachers. Your teachers are in that classroom every day. They know what's working. They know what they need. Remember, we're saying that the instructional coach is somewhere helping the principal, or somewhere helping an assistant principal. The second thing is to get teachers to buy in is to set some goals for student achievement. That's your key. Set your goals for student achievement. You are addressing the teachers based upon data that you have, and as a team, let's decide what percentage of increase do we want our students' math scores to increase. Okay, because you have this great professional development, and all the teachers have decided what we want by the end of the first semester. We want our scores to increase by 30%. Okay, so now that professional development is something that you and the team decided that you would work on together. And that professional development is not just for the teacher, but it's for the students. It's for the students. And we have a direction that we're taking this professional development. Hey, Stu. Hey, Mr. Stewart. Now, one administrator I know taught virtual and face-to-face and hybrid in 1 year. Exactly. That is so true. That is so true. And you know, when it comes to professional development, the way that we experienced 2020, 2021, no one has experienced that ever. However, things are trying to get back to where we have some control, where we don't have so many new things coming at us. Stu says grace and mercy. We don't have new things coming at us. But even when we had the pandemic and we had our teachers having to learn all of the new management systems, there were still places and things for us to do to coordinate with teachers. We know that teachers struggled. We know they struggled. And because it was a pandemic, we asked them, well, the pandemic for our next school year, hopefully we are done with that. And we see that we're going to have professional development, because all we're going to be hearing about is learning loss, learning loss, learning loss. Well, with this professional development that we are trying to close this gap or trying to eliminate that learning loss, we still are going to have to go to our teachers and ask our teachers what they think. And once we see what teachers think, or the majority of our teachers think, and once we set our professional development as a reason to improve student performance, then all of a sudden, it is not just professional development for teachers, it's professional development to help students. Now, here's the next step. Here is the next step. The next step is, did the professional development work? So now all of a sudden, you're going to see that teachers are going to start to collaborate, because we heard this kind of information and we want to make sure that our students are improving. So at the end of each week, at the end of each reporting period, do we see some changes based upon the professional development that we use? It could be just one thing. It could be just one thing. But is that professional development being used in the classroom? And are the results of that, do we have evidence of that they have improved? It could be something as simple as using exit tickets in your science class. Using exit tickets in your science class. Do you see that using exit tickets in your science class is showing improvement on learning the standards? Learning a standard that you know that students are having difficulty with. Something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be, something all brand new. But this is what we're talking about with teacher professional development. So we say that they haven't been using professional development because they choose not to. They have some, even, these teachers, when there is professional development, they don't show up. Or we decide, principals, with all that we have to do, that we're going to send them someplace else. We want to have them to do something else. Or, heaven forbid, we pull our instructional coaches away from the professional development. So how about that? We pull our our instructional coaches from the professional development, and then the professional development doesn't happen. The last and the most important thing is checking to make sure that it's working. This is the way you go step 1, step 2, and step 3. That's the check. Without that, teachers are going to resist the professional development. They're going to resist the professional learning because, 1, there's no accountability. Second, I'm moving out of my comfort zone with this professional development. And thirdly, is the professional development for me, or is professional development to help children? So with your professional development, the reasons teachers resist is because they don't participate, they are not aware, or they start out and then they back out, and then there is no evidence to support that they understand it. And thirdly, if there's nobody to check them, nobody to assist them, there's nobody to help them, they will go back to the routine that they're accustomed to. Remember, if you are a teacher in the classroom and you are a proficient teacher in the classroom and you are expected to do something new, all of a sudden for that particular thing, you are no longer proficient. You're no longer proficient because this is something new. This is a change. This is something that makes you feel uneasy. And as one of my assistant principals, Mr. Jamil Abdul Jabbar, he would always say, nobody likes change but a wet baby and his diaper. Okay? Nobody likes change. But if it's done little by little, it is done with purpose, it is done with respecting teachers, then you will see the change. I can remember sitting in with principals and the superintendent say, we're going to do, take on such and such initiative. Well, dumb me, I raised my hand and I said, I don't know anything about this. Oh, well, don't worry about it. You know, we'll show you how it is, and then we'll go from there. So how do I feel if I have been told by my superintendent that I'm here it is. You don't have a choice. You're going to use it. So I have to go back to my campus and I have to be able to sell this to my teachers. Remember, we're a school in need of improvement. Our teachers had so much on their plate, and here I am, I'm just going to drop something else on them. And that goes the same way for principals and teachers. You know, respect your teachers. And of course, as I said, 100% of them, you know, they'll come along, and it's going to be a challenge, but it can be done. And the way it can be done is to respect them, make sure that they are understanding that this professional development is to help the students. And the third thing is to make sure that there is accountability. So this is how it's done. This is how it's done. So on March 23rd, we're going to have a live coaching chat. We're going to have a Zoom. It's going to be at 6 p.m. and it's going to be an opportunity for us. Well, first of all, for us to meet each other and to see just what you're doing on your campuses and see how we can improve on the things that we need as principals, the things that you need as training, the things that you need for workshops. Because after all, you need support. Every principal needs support. Every principal needs some coaching. You need some training. And that's what I'm here for, to be able to help you. So ask your friends, just invite your friends, principals on the come up. And if you want to discuss anything about any workshops or any training, you can go to calendly.com and schedule a 15-minute or 30-minute visit to talk about that. And things that we can also do on Principals on the Come Up to help you where you are, to improve where you are. And that's what we're all about. So we're going to close for tonight, and we're going to see you again next Monday on Principals on the Come Up, where we will be talking again about professional development, and we're going to be talking about culture. We're going to be talking about culture. We're going to be talking about our class diversity, on how that's impacting our students and how it's impacting our campuses. So we'll see you again on next Monday. Principals on the Come Up. Wait a minute, we got somebody just popped up. Sandra Gale. Yes, every principal needs ongoing training, success. Of course, we can't do it. Every principal needs that help. All right. So I will also look in your messenger box. I have been trying to make sure that I can touch bases with you. So look in Messenger, and I have some information for you. I have touched bases with you. And if you have any questions, then answer me back so that we can grow our Principals on the Come Up and to make every principal a successful principal, so that your school will be the school that will be the success story that everybody's talking about. All right, we'll see you next time. Principals on the Come Up.